And try to connect my Bluetooth. Hold on one moment. Am I audible? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, I should be ready when you want me to start. Yeah.
Oh, firstly, I am addressed all the gathering and introduce to you. Can I start?
Sorry.
Firstly, I am introduced to you and all the audience.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. By the words of Albert Einstein, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Hello everyone, I am Muskan, Event Management Intern at InnovaWorld Private Limited. Today I will be your host. Good afternoon, esteemed guests, interns and colleagues. Firstly, I am heartily thankful to Dr. Dalwinder Kaur ma'am to accept my invitation and participate in this webinar. We are thrilled to host this event in collaboration with two innovative companies, InnovaWorld Private Limited and Sci-Fi Tech Private Limited. InnovaWorld Private Limited, an MSME registered company, it is pioneering research and development center fused with a dynamic training institute. We champion innovation for future generations by embracing the ethos of the thinking big. Our platform serves as an incredible hub for the STEM education. And Sci-Fi pioneers aerospace aviation and defense education with immersive AR and simulations explore aircraft, drones, satellites, and airships to the prepare for future careers. I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to this special event. It is with the great pleasure that we gather here to welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Dalwinder Ma'am. Dalwinder Ma'am, we are thrilled honored to have you with us today. Your willingness to share your time and expertise with our community despite your busy schedule is deeply appreciated. Your presence here signifies not only commitment to the education and knowledge sharing, but also your dedication to fostering growth and innovation in our field. I extend a warm welcome to all the AICT interns and our lovely viewers who have joined us on this platform to learn about how to make effective presentations. A hearty welcome to our young founder of InnovaWorld Private Limited, Engineer Aishwarya Dara, Chief Technological Officer, Engineer P.K. Dara, who was the former scientist in the Department of Atomic Energy. Your vision and leadership have paved the way for innovation and growth within our organization. Furthermore, I extend a heartfelt welcome to Dr. Arunava Sir, our esteemed research head who serves as the backbone of our research division. Your dedication and expertise are instrumental in shaping our innovative pursuits. I'm truly honored to welcome the chief guest of the day, Dr. Dalwinder Kaur Dhillon, who is the senior lecturer at the School of Education, Manipal Global Next University in Malaysia. In addition, she has about 50 years of teaching experience in the higher education industry. She is also a United Nations Youth Peace Ambassador and in working on our action plan on women empowerment. He also gained overseas teaching experience and certified human resource development corporation trainer and extensive experience in conducting trainings and workshops in areas such as curriculum development, professional development, communication skills, and leadership. Once again, I welcome each and every one of you. Now I request Dr. Zurvinder ma'am to address the gathering and how to make effective presentation. And let's make today's session one to remember. Over to ma'am.
Okay. Hi. I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Muskan, for a very warm welcome and introduction. And a very good afternoon to all of you at InnovaWorld, Ma'am Aishwarya, Muskan, and everyone present at this webinar today. Now, first of all, my gratitude to Muskan for her very passionate welcome. And we have been in touch for a very, very long time on LinkedIn. And she has been requesting me for this webinar. But due to some time commitment, and also I was unwell last week, we had to move this webinar, and I'm very happy to be here to share this session and have basically this valuable sharing session with InnovaWorld. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to interact with the participants. I don't think so, right? Am I able to interact with the participants?
Yes, ma'am. All are participate in the YouTube and LinkedIn as well.
Okay, so it's live stream on YouTube. All right. So I guess if there are questions that I would be able to address them via chat, I guess, right?
Yes, Aishwarya ma'am.
Okay.
Ask you all the
Okay.
questions.
All right, great. Okay, so without further ado, I should be starting my webinar. And let me just go into full screen right now. So I think this is something that is very useful, effective presentation strategies. Now, be it if you're presenting in a physical setting or online setting. In fact, since COVID-19, a lot of us have moved to online setting, and a lot of meetings, webinar basically is a seminar that's conducted online. So, regardless of however you're presenting, you need to have effective presentation strategies. So, I am Dr. Dalwinder Kaur from Manipal Globonex University, Malaysia, and I'm very pleased to share some presentation strategies with all of you present today. Now, I think I was asking if I could interact. So, how many of you are afraid of speaking in public? And I would also raise my hand because I've always been afraid of speaking in public. And there's always the time where you are initially filled with nerves, jitters, and so on. So, public speaking fear is something really common. Every one of us will have fear of public speaking, but how we overcome this fear and how we actually prepare to present in public is very important. So this fear of public speaking is known as glossophobia. Now, to all of you who didn't know, public speaking, if you look at this graphic that I'm sharing with you, this pie chart that I'm sharing with you, in fact, public speaking is one of the highest fear that people have. So it's a very common fear. It's even higher than the fear of death. So people are scared of spiders, bugs, people are scared of heights. I'm scared of heights, terribly scared of heights. Social situations, flying, open spaces. Some people are scared of storms, small spaces, insects, and so on. But the fear of public speaking is something very, very common. Even the best speakers that you see on TED Talk, they have even said that they have had this fear of public speaking, but they've always shared the good practices that have helped them to overcome the fear of public speaking, which is glossophobia. Now, first of all, it's very, very important to plan your speech, whether you are presenting it online or whether you are presenting in a meeting online, you're supposed to make a pitch. Now, all of you, I don't really know what kind of things those of you present here are doing. Are you in marketing? Are you in advertising? Which department you're from? Are you from the business department? But I think each and every one of us come to a point of life where we are required to make pitches, speeches, we are required to deliver webinars or seminars and so on. Now, I always tell my students even that it's very important to plan your speech as though you're writing an essay. Now, in a general essay, you will have the opening, the introduction, the content, and also the closing. Similarly, when you're giving a speech, you will use the same organization. So it's very important to have a strong opening. Now, what do I mean by strong opening? Now, this is what I actually wanted to do. So, when I was asking you, how many of you are afraid of speaking in public? The only thing is that I'm not able to gauge responses from all of you, because if you would tell me that you're afraid of speaking in public, I would have asked you to share some of experiences. So, questioning to begin by questioning your audience is one of the strategies. So it's very important to have a strong opening so that you are able to wake the senses of the participants. So you can use attention grabbers. Now, what is one attention grabber that I used? I shared with you this astounding statistic. I would believe this is quite astounding. So many of you may not have known that public speaking is one of a very, very common fear. In fact, it's even higher than the fear of death. So this is something I shared with you to grab your attention. Or you could use humor. Now, I'm not a funny person generally. I don't think I can be funny in formal settings. So, but some people are really funny. If you could, crack a joke that's related to your presentation, of course, and why not? Or some of you may want to start your presentation by sharing an anecdote. An anecdote is basically your own experience of something that's related to the topic. Now, for example, when I deliver talks on education, AI, or using technology in education, I share anecdotes of what happens in my own class or what happens to my own students as well. So these are some ways you can have a very strong opening. Or you can use, say you're in a hall filled with physical participants in a physical setting. So you can say, close your eyes, imagine you're at the beach, to just evoke some senses. Or you can use the power of what if. Imagine what if you wake up tomorrow and your job has been taken over by AI? What if? Imagine. So this kind of questions. Or you could even share a fun fact. Like, did you know that Coca-Cola makes you drunk, or things like that. So share a fun fact with the audience and so on. So these are some strong openings you could use, but it's very, very important to look at the context. And you can't be using a very humorous opening with a group of CEOs and CFOs and so on. So it's very important to look at the context. You're speaking to a group of students, yes, it's fine, because I think they are a young group, so you can engage with them using humor and so on. But with people more senior, so it's a very different context. So you may want to share some astounding statistics to evoke their senses and so on. So you've got about 90 seconds to capture attention in the beginning of your speech. It's very important to have a very, very strong beginning so that you are able to attract their attention and keep their attention throughout your presentation. Now, organizers say, which PowerPoints are you looking at right now?
F5.
Sorry, you're not clear. Are you looking at organizing your talk? Just a moment. Let me just reshare. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to reshare my slides. Then you just let me know if you're able to see now. Okay. Are you able to see my slides right now? Yeah, it is. It is already in the presentation mode. Yeah, that's what. Hold on. You're able to see right now? Yeah, I am actually sharing. One moment, yeah, one moment. Let me just reshare this. You're able to see now? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Now I will continue from here. All right. So this is basically to those of you if you missed my slide earlier. So this is what I was showing you. How many of you are afraid of speaking in public? These were the statistics that I was sharing earlier. And at the same time, I was talking about planning your speech. So some ways to have a strong opening. And of course, this is where I stopped. So strategies that you can use, first of all, when you organize your talk, it's very important to include the purpose of your presentation very clearly and very creatively. Now, even when we are writing essays, so you have introduction, you have content, you have basically your body, and you have your conclusion. So it's very important to introduce what you're talking about. Like today, I will be presenting some strategies to present effectively. So that is very important so that you're able to engage with your audience. Secondly, include smooth transitions. Now, what transitions mean? Using words like besides, additionally, moreover, furthermore, and so on. Now, this helps to organize your point, and this also helps your audience to follow with your points. Now, they know that you have mentioned the first point, you're moving on to the second point, and so on. So, next, moreover, furthermore, and so on. So make your ideas clear, logical, and easy to follow. And finally, end up with an accurate conclusion and good summary. Now, I talked about how to have a very strong opening. Now, let's move on to content. Now, it's very important that when you're presenting, your content is well researched. Now, you can't just share something that is not valid or reliable. So, well researched, you will only be able to share when something is true, valid, and reliable. So, that is one thing you have to make sure. Second, provide accurate and complete explanation. Now, a lot of people these days, I think it's very common for us to just get points from ChatGPT. But how sure are you if it's accurate or it's complete, whatever you're getting from it? So even if you're putting something, you have to make sure that you understand what it means and you're able to deliver and you're able to explain it completely. So no half-hearted, half-baked explanations. So it's very important to provide correct and basically precise explanations. Now each point that you're making is like a paragraph in your essay. Now for example, if I'm mentioning 5 points in my presentation today, now in my mind I have to actually imagine that I'm writing an essay, I'm building that point. So I have to give some elaboration, I have to give some examples, one example or two examples to elaborate on that point. So each point that you're mentioning during your presentation is like a paragraph in your essay. So also make sure that your presentations are not too simple or not too sophisticated. Now, I am a person who like minimalist presentation. So I basically follow the principles of KISS, keep it short and simple. So basically, my slides are very, very basic. So you will not see a lot of popping colors and so on, or designs and so on. So I like to keep things simple. At the same time, it's very important that you do not use very complicated vocabulary where your audience is not able to follow. So it's very important to know your audience and know who are the people you're engaging with. If they're a group of students or they're a group of interns. So it's very important to keep your level of vocabulary something that's easy to follow. So no use of technical words or jargons that makes it sound so sophisticated, but your audience may not be able to follow. So your language must be rich and you must use very choice of words. Also try. I think this is difficult. Sometimes, we have got slip of tongues. So, but try to make sure that you're using correct grammar when you're presenting, because a lot of grammatical mistakes in your presentation may be a no-no kind of situation, may put off the presentation. So it's very important that you use correct grammar. Now that will only happen if you practice before your presentations. So of course, you can proofread the script that you've prepared, or you can proofread your slides and so on. You get someone to proofread, use a uh, grammar checker, or there are so many things that you can do to basically proofread your work. But it's very important that when you are presenting, present using correct grammar. Now, that's the content part. Now, I think very importantly, visual aids. Now, if you're a student or if you're in a company, I think it's really important that you have images, you have graphs, you have pie charts, and so on to go along with your presentation. So it reinforces presentation and maximizes audience understanding. Now, if you're in the business setting, now you're talking about some stats and so on. You're talking about data. Now, it's very important to accompany whatever you're verbally talking about with some graphics. So that's actually important because it's going to reinforce your presentation and people understand better when they look at visual materials. Now, of course, now if I were to talk about this earlier, the fear of public speaking. If I were to talk about glossophobia, by just telling you, hey, public speaking is one of the greatest fear among people, it's even higher than death and so on, you will hear me speaking, but it will be better. And I think it is better that I have got this graphic on this slide because you're able to follow and you're able to look at these percentages that are on my slide. So this is one example of visual aid that you could use, right? So remove excess text. I think it's a very huge no when people put in text that is too lengthy. So what people do is normally they copy paste long sentences. It's so obvious these days, even when you look at webinars, that ChatGPT basically has got this kind of set I would say organization where they put the point in bold and the explanation comes in not unbold basically font. So what people do is they copy paste the same thing and they put the whole chunk on their slides. Why do we need the whole chunks? Then why are you presenting? Remember, you're not reading from your slides. You're presenting. You're presenting, so the words should come from your mouth. Now, how much am I reading from my slides? Not at all. The points on my slides are just to help me organize my points, organize my thoughts. But I am using my own words because I am presenting. I'm not reading. So you may have points from ChatGPT, good, but use only main points. So bullet main points, no lengthy sentences, because that is also another no that you should avoid in your presentation. So only include main points. The supplementary points, the examples, and so on should come from your own mouth. Right? So powerful images, they are very effective in getting your message across. Now, also, we have seen, some people are using memes and so on. Now, that depends where you are, who are you speaking to. You could use them, of course. But very important to really, really remember this, that less is really more. So it's very important to keep it really simple and remember that you are only getting your message across if you focus on the essence of your presentation. So that's about the visual aids. Now, I think now we're moving more to the verbal eye contact and the physical factors that are influencing presentation. Now, your body language. Now, you see, I'm presenting online. You are all seated in India, I'm seated in Malaysia. I'm presenting to you from Malaysia, but we are not in the same room. But at the same time, I think body language is very important and it conveys a powerful message that is more important than words. Now, I can be seated like this, but I don't think this is good. I don't, because this shows that I am basically someone who know it all, or basically paints a very negative image about me. Or I could just not move at all. I could just be static. But then you'll basically, lose that interest in listening to me because there's no or gestures at all. So gestures and movements are fluid and they reinforce your verbal message. Now, I'm a person, I naturally, even if I'm speaking to you, I'm having a conversation with you, for me, gestures are basically part of my communication style. So gestures and movements are important because they help to reinforce your verbal message. I can't imagine speaking without gestures. Now, some people can. Now, I think if you see some speakers, they tend to have their hands folded. Some of them may have their hands in their pockets, and so many. I've also even observed scratching head movements or praying gestures. Some people move around the room. Now that all depends on you, but I think a lot of swaying is a bit. It just puts off the audience. So some movement is natural. It's okay to move a little bit, but avoid pacing or avoid swaying a lot from side to side. And I was talking about folding your arms. Now, folding your arms may look too defensive, especially if you're giving a presentation to your subordinates, for example. Do not keep your hands in the pocket. That may seem very furtive or very informal. And avoid habitual movements like scratching, praying, and some people just talk like that. Avoid this kind of habitual movements. So use gestures, but make sure they do not distract your audience from presentation. So some gestures, some natural gestures. So don't make up your gestures. Some people go too much, like hi, good morning, my name. That kind of gestures are not natural. So natural gestures are encouraged during a presentation. Now, voice. Now, like I said in the beginning of my presentation, nervousness, anxiety is normal and they may have an impact on your presentation. But a long time, the more you present, the more confident you become. So it's very important. Now, like I said, I have been teaching, I've been lecturing and so on. There are nerves, there are jitters. I'm also as human as you, but you have to practice. You have to be confident. You have to be relaxed. And my own strategy, I used to talk to myself a lot. I used to present to myself. Is basically you can just stand in front of a mirror. You can look at how you're doing. So be relaxed, be confident. That a lot of practice over time makes you a confident speaker. So be relaxed, be confident, trust yourself. If you have prepared well, so breathe in, breathe out, use some pauses. Now I tend to speak a little bit too fast, I guess, but having some pauses in the middle of your presentation helps you to calm down. It gives your audience some time to engage. Now, I think that's something I should tell myself as well. Now, I should pause so that my audience gets a little bit time to engage in whatever I'm trying to say. Now, smiling is important. Now, be it online, you're an online presenter or you're in a room full of people. You sometimes you forget to smile because we may be overwhelmed or too nervous or too anxious here, basically. So, but smiling, it helps develop a positive relationship between the presenter and the audience. Now, when I smile, I think uh, in a room of uh, people, audience, I think it's a nicer feeling to present because I see people nodding, I see people engaging with my speech. So this kind of nods and so on, where people show that they understand, that gives me more confidence. That gives me a very good feeling, I would say. It gives me a very positive feeling. But now with this kind of presentation, where I don't know whether you're listening to me, whether you're talking to each other, whether you're using your phones, but at the same time, I also have to remember that you are there, you are present. So I have to smile. I have to smile as a presenter so that it helps to develop a positive relationship and doesn't you don't appear to be someone that is totally hostile or unfriendly. So it's very important. So to keep your audience connected through smiling. And lack of enthusiasm also. Lack of enthusiasm is basically where you're forced to present. You got no mood to present. You don't want to present, but you're forced to present. So some presenters go like, hello, today I'm going to talk to you about presentation skills. So this shows that I don't even have the mood to talk to you, but I'm forced to talk to you. So will you be listening to me? Will you be happy to listen to me? No, you'll be disconnected. So if I am excited, I am enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic, you'll be happy to listen to me. Now, lack of enthusiasm is basically it's connecting the audience from your presentation. So it's very important, be it you like it or not, be it if you're really, really forced by your bosses to present, still demonstrate strong and positive feelings towards the topic. Because remember, you are painting an image for your own self. So you're doing it for you. So and some other methods you could use to overcome nervousness and anxiety is basically getting a friend to videotape you, basically getting someone to observe you while you practice and so on. That's very common also for us as presenters to use fillers. Now, fillers basically means like, okay, okay, moving on. You know, all these fillers. Some of them use them more frequently, but trust me, this can be reduced with practice. I used to have fillers as well. I think I still do have a little bit of fillers when I'm trying to recall something. Now, or don't have too many of them because too many of them, people, oh, what is she talking about? So she keeps saying, or he keeps repeating, that person may not be confident, or that person is trying to recall something that's memorized. Now, this is another thing I tell my students, don't memorize your script. Remember, you're not reading, you're not memorizing and regurgitating the same thing. You're presenting. It should come from within you. So it's very, very important to not memorize your script because when you're memorizing, it's very easy to know this person is memorized because the person is going to go like, uh, trying to recall what's the next line. You may be very good at memorizing, but trust me, in the long run, if you're going to give 100 more presentations throughout your life, are you going to memorize all the 100 presentations? Doesn't make sense. So read, practice, prepare, equip yourself with the knowledge. Have confidence. If you've practiced enough, if you have developed enough understanding about that topic, go ahead and present in your own words, right? So that will help you to develop good presentation skills. Now, another thing is eye contact. Now, if you're in a physical room, scan the room, hold the attention of the audience. Now, say I'm in this room and I'm not looking at you, I'm not looking at my camera, I'm looking outside. I have a perfect view from my office actually. I'm in the golden triangle of Kuala Lumpur. I'm looking at outside, I'm looking at the birds, I'm looking at the sun, I'm not looking at you. So I will not be able to hold your attention. So it's very important. If you're in a physical room, now in a board meeting, for example, or in a meeting room, for example, try to focus by scanning the room. So practice making eye contact with each member, but don't stare at a particular person for more than a second or two. So avoid focusing on just one person. Now I know he or she may be your boss, or he or she may be someone that you are presenting to, but at the same time, acknowledge the other people in the room. You are presenting to him. Now, this happens because I'm the lecturer. So most of the students think they are presenting for their marks. So they'll just tend to look at me. They're not looking at other students in the class. They are looking at me because I'm the one who's giving them marks. But that's not fair. You have to look at everyone. You have to engage with all your audience. So eye contact with the audience, it creates an impression of being better informed, friendlier, of course, more honest, and also more experienced. So never just stare at the back of the room or out of the window. Now, notes. Now, eye contact is another thing that I want to talk about. Now, in a physical presentation, the screen is normally the back of you. So a lot of people, they are just looking at the screen or they're just looking at their laptop because everything is in the laptop or they're just looking at the screen. Remember, you're not presenting to the screen or to the laptop. You're presenting to the audience. So look at the audience. Your eyes can just go to the screen for just 1-2 seconds. Look at your point, back to the audience. But if you're presenting online, of course, you're looking at the screen because that's where your camera is at. But so this is how you have to always ensure that you're looking at your audience, whether they are looking at you or not. Now, I think this is another thing that I or any other person during the COVID has experienced as a lecturer. I was teaching online. I was teaching on Teams. I was looking at my students, right? Because my camera was always on, but my students' cameras were off. So basically, I don't know what my audience is doing. All right. So it basically puts you off a bit because you feel like, hey, I'm just talking to the screen. Is anyone listening to me? I don't know. Whether you're listening to me, I don't know. So that's a basically, well, I would say one of the drawbacks of online presentations, you don't know whether people are listening to you because in a room, you're able to look at them. You're able to look at them. They are looking at you, they are nodding at you, they're smiling at you. That gives you more confidence. But during COVID, I used to feel, oh, my students didn't on their cameras. So I felt like I was just talking to myself. But I think over time, it has become a no. So now, even when I'm presenting in webinars, I don't know if you're listening to me, but I'm still looking at you because that's my responsibility as a presenter, right? So moving on, elocution. Elocution is your voice. So it's very important if you're in a physical room, you have to make sure your audience can hear you. I think I'm normally very loud enough. So my voice can reach the audience, I believe. And it's very important to vary your volume. Of course, no one likes a monotonous speaker. Now, what's a monotonous speaker? Speaking in one tone, monotone. So, monotone is like, today I'm going to talk to you about elocution. Elocution is something that you have to practice when you're giving a presentation. Do you like me talking in this way? Or do you like when I have some music in my voice? So vary your volume. Now stress on certain things that you want to say. Your pitch, what goes high, what goes low, is very important. That's the music of your voice. So pace means don't go like a rail gaddi, like don't go too fast, like like people can't follow, or don't go too slow. Like too slow, people will fall asleep listening to you. So pace is very important. So pace your speech, how quickly you speak and so on. So also same time, it's very important to try saying the same things using different features. Like, for example, I'm just going to repeat this sentence. Vary your volume, pitch, music of the voice, and pace to add interest. Now, what goes high, what goes low, and so on. So this actually you can do through practice. So a lot of practice will make you have better elocution in a long time. Now, at the last thing, basically, you can't just abruptly end your presentation. Now, it's very important to wrap up your presentation in an effective manner. So this should take about 10% of your speaking time. Say you're given 20 minutes to speak, you should have at least 3 to 5 minutes to conclude. So it's very important to summarize and re-emphasize your main points. Now, for example, to summarize what I've said, it's very important that you organize your presentation, have a very strong opening because that's where you grab the attention, and keep your audience glued to your presentation by using different methods. So organize your points. So it's very important you organize your points, and at the same time, some physical factors play a very important role, like your gestures, your eye contact, your movement, and so on. Not too close to your screen, not too far from the screen, and things like that. So this is where you may also provide your own opinion. Now, I don't have an opinion to this one. I think I've said whatever I want to say. But it's very important to signpost. What is signpost? You don't just say, I'm done. Oh, that's all from me. Thank you. When did it happen? So you have to signpost. You must make a transition to the conclusion. So use suitable endings like in conclusion or to sum up or all in all, or as I've said, as I've demonstrated, so people know, like she's about to end her presentation. So never finish a presentation by saying like, that's all I have to say, or that's it, or so on. So it's very important to signpost that I am about to end my presentation. Now, moving on, the last thing I want to talk about is the slides. Now, use graphics for now, so this is what a presentation looks like. I think you can see the professor is presenting something every day. Very nice graphic on his slides. So minimize text and numbers. Now, for the purpose of presentation, I think I wanted to put in more all these points so that I can share these slides with all of you after my presentation. But it's very important if you can reduce further. I think this is fine. So minimize your text and numbers, no long, lengthy sentences. Don't remember, you're not reading, you're presenting. So no lengthy sentences, right? Minimize your text. Everything should be in point form. Light text on dark background. All right. So this is very important. Now, some people may have purple color background with blue color font. Doesn't make sense. How am I going to read your slides from somewhere far. So light text on dark background. If you're going to use a black background, then use white font or something that is clear. All right. So that if you ever wish to use a dark background, remember light text and avoid distracting backgrounds. And personally, I'm not a fan of all these distracting backgrounds. I use very simple backgrounds in my slides. I keep them very simple. So either white backgrounds or just a plain color or very pastel colors for my slides. I keep them very simple and use large serif fonts even when you're presenting online. Though this is on the screen, it's very important that it's readable. Mixture of upper and lowercase. Some people, they want to be more creative. They just use lowercase throughout, or they just use capitalization throughout. Why are you shouting? So capitalization basically indicates you're shouting on your slides. No, you don't need capitalization. And please proofread your slides. Make sure your spelling is correct. Make sure if you don't have grammatical mistakes, because that can put off your audience. Like, come on, you're giving a presentation. Did you even proofread your slides? So prepare your slides well and use color if you have to highlight some text. Now, sometimes when I'm giving a more important presentation, I'm presenting some important points and things that I've mentioned. So I use highlights to emphasize some points. And lastly, keep your figures simple. If you're going to use figures, keep them simple. Do not have a Donald Duck popping from here or something else, Santa Claus popping from the other side and so on. So keep your figures or whatever images that you're using simple. Now, that's all from me. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, what is the dress code regarding while presentation when
Sorry, what did you say?
or dress code regarding while presentation on the audience?
I still didn't get your question. You're breaking.
Hello, ma'am, I'm audible now.
Yeah. You're audible, Muskan.
Dress code regarding while presentation.
Yes?
Dress code.
Dress code. Oh, dress code. For me, it's always formal. No, I think even when I'm presenting online, I would rather be in a formal setting, formal dress code. So it depends again on who are the audience. Now, if you're in a group of meeting, in a board meeting, for example, it's very good, important to have a blazer. I always keep it handy. If I'm talking to a group of subordinates, I would wear my blazer to appear more formal. But I think today this presentation doesn't seem like a very, very formal presentation. It's more like an interactive presentation. So the dress code can be formal, but doesn't have to be so too formal. So, but I personally, even when I used to get presentations in my classroom, I will not encourage students to come in singlets and shorts and so on. Come on, you're doing a presentation. So for the sake of presentations, you have to be formal.
Okay,
No
thank you.
chappal, no chappals, of course. That's a no. No jeans, torn, tattered jeans, and all. I know some people may be okay with that. It's 21st century. Gen Zs may want to dress like that. But for me, chappals are also a no. You have to have formal shoes when you're presenting.
Okay, ma'am.
Any questions from the audience that perhaps I could take?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, this is Aishwarya this side.
Hi, Ashwarya.
Yeah, how are you, ma'am?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Yes. First of all, thank you for accepting our invitation and sparing time with InnovaWorld Private Limited. And there are certain questions that student has dropped over here, so I would like to ask for that. Okay, ma'am. First question that student have shared their problem. Being a fresher, it's very challenging to start how to give a good start in a presentation. Fear is a vital factor. Though we are presenting, but still there is a fear. How to control the fear?
I think practice. For me, I've been a student. I've gone through all these things and all. For me, it is always very important. Now, I used to actually imagine that there is no one in the room that's listening to me, and I always tell myself that I am the owner of that presentation. That's my, it's very personal, I would say. Now, first of all, I talk a lot to myself, even when I used to study. As a student, I used to teach myself. I talk a lot to myself. I think that's a bit different to some people. But when I used to present, I used to replay that over and over again in my head. Now, even now, when I have some important presentation to make, I speak to myself. While I'm driving, I try to talk to myself. I want to recall the points. I want to be more confident and so on. Very important, prepare. If you know you have a presentation coming, prepare yourself. Don't memorize. When you memorize, you become nervous because you'll be like, अगले अगली line क्या है, like what's the next line, ये मैंने ये पढ़ी थी, like I remember this, then what was supposed to be the next thing, because you're trying to remember what you memorized. I have memorized, trust me, I've been through that. But then when I memorize, my eyes go like, oh, what was the next line, what was the next line, I try to recall what I memorized. So don't, memorizing makes you more nervous. Don't memorize, practice, stand in front of the mirror, talk to yourself. Maybe that is one tip that I have actually practiced as a student, and I've gone through a lot of presentations and so on, and it has helped me. I won't say I'm a good presenter or perfect presenter now, but I think over the years I've become more confident and I'm able to speak confidently in a crowd because of this. I think having self-esteem is very important. Remember, like I know this, I'm invited to talk about this, they want me to present this, I've read this. So read a lot so that you're confident about what you're sharing. So I think that's basically what I advise.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we have one very interesting question. What can I do when I have been asked a question which I don't have an answer to do it during the presentation?
Okay, I think that's also a very, very good question. Thank you to whoever asked this question. I also have been in this situation where, someone may ask me. Now, first, our first instinct is like, just, if you don't know, if you really don't know, we try to tell whatever we know, but I think that makes you look foolish, I would say. Now, over the years, one thing I've learned is that I'm sorry, I don't have an answer now, but I can get back to you on this. If you really do not know, if you know, but you're not confident, you can try. Now, I think, in my opinion, it's very safe to say, in my own perspective, I believe that this is the answer. But if this is not the answer, I may have to do extra reading or research into this matter, and I'll get back to you. Now, merely saying I'll get back to you may not be enough. Sometimes the person may expect you to get back to them through email or something. It's very important to establish that kind of connection. Say, it's a very good question. Thank you. And it's not humiliating. It's not embarrassing to own up that we don't know. So, we are all humans. We are not perfect. We are not, our brain doesn't have everything that's supposed to, uh, the whole world knowledge that we're supposed to have. So it's very important. It's very good where you humbly acknowledge that I apologize. I may not have an answer right now, but I can get back to you after the presentation, or I can get back to you shortly. So I think that's one thing you can do. So I mean, don't make yourself look down by just saying things that are not relevant. So that's one thing you could do. I hope this answers.
Yes, ma'am. There is another question. As nowadays AI has brought a great change, so can we use or make a presentation using AI-based tool where we can add infographics and other things? What do you suggest?
Sorry, can we use what?
Uh, Infographics.
Infographics, definitely. Why not? I think that's under visual aids, I would say. So infographics help to reinforce your presentation. Yeah, of course. Infographics is a good way to engage with your audience.
Yes, but I think he or she has also mentioned that what to do that if teachers are not allowing this AI-based tool. Can you suggest any other software to or the shortcuts to make it?
Infographics. I think no, actually, for today I didn't use Canva. Now, this slide that I actually shared with you have been with me for many, many, many years because I used to be a lecturer in a pre-university. So that's when I used to use this slide, very old slide. But for me, a very good slide builder where you can get very good infographics would be Canva. I think if any of you are interested, we can have another slot for Canva because I have experimented a lot with Canva. You get ready-made slides there. You can get a lot of infographics. But to design your infographics, I think Canva does a lot of things. So you may want to experiment with Canva. I use Canva these days personally. It's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. There is a last question that we'll take up. Ma'am, presentation, effective presentation and practice, as you have mentioned, that it play a vital role to make an effective presentation. But still, can you give some suggestions at how to avoid fear during presentation?
I think, ma'am, I mentioned this earlier. Fear. Yeah, fear. Now, one good thing is that, okay, now I think I missed this point, notes. So some students tend to have notes. Now, if you really, really think you lack that confidence, you can have notes. But in the form of flashcards, I don't have maybe something, in this kind of size, in this kind of flashcards. So flashcards are basically small ones where you just have point form. Don't write the whole thing because you will read the whole thing. You will read the whole thing from your paper. Don't have like an A4 size kind of paper, like this kind of paper, and you're reading from the entire thing. That's a no-no. So flashcards are normal. So you look at the point and then you talk about it. You look at the point and talk about it. But then again, that's why you have slides. Now, sometimes we may have to make presentations where we can't use slides, no slides at all. So you just have to present without slides. Then you can use flashcards. I think this is very important for you to organize your thoughts. I have used flashcards as well. So just look at it and then present. So, but fear, I would say, practice makes perfect. Trust me, if you practice well, fear will not come. And always, I think I always feel like that. Now, I can't see my audience, right, when I'm presenting online. So I think it's also a good thing because I think I'm just talking to myself. So that's all mindset. So talk to yourself, tell yourself that you're just looking to the screen. So there's nothing to be fearful about. And remember, we are all humans. If you make mistakes, it's part of your human nature to make mistakes. So remember, nobody is perfect. Even the best presenters make mistakes. So it's all part and parcel of learning. You are, like you mentioned earlier, freshers. Freshers, I have been a fresher. I've made mistakes as well, but we learn from the mistakes. But I guess presentation has a lot of things, a very strong connection with your language skills as well. If you think you are not confident because you lack that communication, ba- how would I say this? Basically, you don't have a strong language foundation. I don't have good vocabulary or my grammar isn't good. Then start by doing more grammar exercises and so on so that you polish your language skills because your language skills are good, your presentation becomes good. Your language skills are not good, your presentation may not be good because it all goes back to the language. So if you're not good, watch some TED Talk speeches. There are a lot of online speeches that you could watch. I think a very good way to learn is to watch a lot of English movies or watch a lot of TED Talks so that you can look at the way they're presenting, the words they use, and so on, and you are able to emulate these speakers. Now, it's all about polishing your language, becoming more fluent. If you think you have problem with grammar, then start by doing some grammar exercises. It's a lifelong learning, I would say. So you always learn. You always think what better words I could use to engage with my audience and so on. And it makes you a much more confident person over the years. I hope this answers.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. You have clarified each and everything, starting from that how to practice, what are the number of slides, and also the preparations, you do's and don'ts. You have nicely framed and explained it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for spending time with us, and thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm so sorry about the glitches earlier. I actually just moments before my presentation, I got disconnected from my Bluetooth, so I don't know what was happening on my computer, and I apologize for that. And I hope this session has been fruitful, and I hope to be back again to have another one or two more sessions with InnovaWorld. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Muskan, so much for your patience with me. We have had a lot of multiple interactions, and I am very fortunate to be with you, to hear, be here with you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, ma'am. In future, we will try to connect with you and create a bond with InnovaWorld, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Have a
Bye.
nice day.
You too. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.